What's good, man? It's your boy E coming at you with some finance solutions. And just trying to touch base real quick with you guys before market open, actually. Just to go over a few things. We'll see how things shake out today, but being that inflation was good and the numbers didn't come in hot, I would expect for today to be, for lack of a better term, risk on, maybe even bullish. Obviously, the CPI came out yesterday. Like I said, it was good. Now, one thing we do have to worry about is the Fed is still warning that the banking crisis is likely to cause a recession. I mean, at first they were saying there was going to be no recession. Then they were saying we're going to come in for a soft landing, blase squaze. But now they're actually coming out and straight up saying that it's very likely that we are going to have a recession. And I mean, basically, everyone knows that we've been in a recession. The question you have to ask yourself is, if the Fed, up until this point, has been denying the fact that we've been in a recession, right? We're saying first it was transitory, then we're coming in for a soft landing and all of that jazz. And we've seen basically the effects that had on the overall market. Now they're coming out and telling you straight up, it is likely that we are going into a recession. Pretty much, like I said, everyone already knows that we've been in a recession. But again, the Fed warns that the trouble that we've been having with the banks, basically the banking crisis, is likely to cause a recession. Like I said, up until this point, they've pretty much been beating around the bush, saying we're not in a recession, there'll be no recession, or there'll be a soft landing, after whatever cycle of monetary policy tightening that we are going to endure. All right. So, like I said, now they're saying, yeah, it's likely we're going to be in a recession. So, even though the numbers came in cool, if the Fed's straight up telling us that, yeah, we're going into a recession, like I said, the numbers are cool. They came in cool, and that's bullish for the stock market. But at the same time, if the Fed's telling us that we are going into a recession and pretty much are already in one, then will the numbers coming in cool be negated because they're now coming out and flat out telling us that we're going into a recession? I mean, so that's something to think about. But really quick, just wanted to go over a few things. Okay, so like I said, just wanted to kind of go over a few things before market open this morning. Really quick, and this is kind of important, because basically what happens is people buy the rumor and sell the news. So you do have to take into consideration, what stocks and tickers are being talked about the most. Basically, especially when it comes down to retail, the most talked about stocks in retail going into the trading period today are AMC, AI, FRC, Baba, Wish, and AMD. And we can go ahead and just take a look at some of these charts real quick, starting with AMC. First of all, let's zoom out, look at this daily chart. Just back in February, AMC, got up to about 850s. Since then, we've basically just been trending down. Does look like we found some support, kind of. Obviously, like I've said in the past, things work up until the point where they don't. But, just looking at this daily chart, there does seem to be a level here. Support and resistance are interchangeable. There's a clear level here on the daily. Looks like about 430s right here was acting as resistance, came down here, basically bounced off this level, was acting as support. Over here was acting as support for, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about a week and a half or so. We did run up a little bit, then we broke down this 430s. It was acting as resistance again. We were able to get back above it. So basically, you'd have to operate under the assumption that if we were to come down here and test this level, more than likely act as some type of support. So that's where we're at on AMC on the daily chart. Now kind of zooming in a little bit, kind of get in the trenches a little bit. Let's look at the 15-minute. I mean, basically, earlier this month, the beginning of the month, around the 4th, we're down here on the lows here. So about 360s, 350s. I'd say even right here, this 396 or $4 seems like a rather significant level here. Ever since then, we've kind of been trending up. Now, yesterday in the trading period, we were also trending to the upside. I actually broke above $5. Then we kind of, I guess, ran into some resistance up here. And again, these are 15-minute candles. I say we topped out. Obviously, we topped out about like right around here, 570s. More than likely, this 560s, just call it 570s. I was looking like some type of resistance up there. I mean, we'll see what happens. Again, if the market is risk on, we could possibly break above that. That is what AMC is looking like. All right. The next one is AI. And as you know, the AI stocks have been the ticker symbol is AI. Looks like it's C3 AI Inc. As you know, the AI sector, or artificial intelligence sector, has been hot recently. So that's definitely one to keep on your watch list, or at least keep your eye on. Pre-market seems like we are going in the right direction here. So, I mean, just keep your eye on that one. Again, more than likely, it may have some decent volume, being that, like I said, it is one of the top talked about stocks on retail forums. That's the second one. We also have FRC, which is First Republic Bank. Another one that's a hot topic in retail forums, especially. Definitely giving you some range to trade off of, at least in the last trading period. But I mean, that's to be expected, being that we did get the number print yesterday, the CPI. But again, one of the most talked about stocks in retail forums. So definitely one to keep your eye on. All right, now moving on. Another ticker that's one of the most talked about stocks on social media and retail forums is Baba. So Baba is a China stock. And I mean, I actually like trading Baba. It always gives you some decent range to trade off of. And I mean, when it pushes to the upside, it can go on a run. Obviously, the inverse is also true. When it fades, it could fade decent. But I mean, just looking at the chart so far, I mean, I know it's kind of early. I mean, it's 4:45 Eastern Standard Time, so pretty early. But I said that to say this thing gapped up. It seems like a lot of stuff gapped up. Let's check out like indice. So the Q's gapped up. Obviously, if the Q's gapped up, you would expect the SPY to gap up as well. And yeah, so Baba gapped up as well. That's one to keep your eye on there. Here's what that looks like on the 5-minute. Gapping up from about 92.75s up to 95.60s. So decent for anyone swinging that thing overnight. Definitely a decent move with some decent range. And again, obviously, do your own due diligence. I mean, anything I say is not a suggestion for you to buy, hold, or sell. Again, this is for educational purposes only. Again, Baba, I definitely keep that thing on my watch list and keep an eye on it, because if the market is risk on, I would expect Baba to run to the upside a little bit. It seems like it's been trading within a range here from like 97 to like 105. And I've seen it on multiple occasions be sub 100, maybe like around 90 or something like that. And when the market is risk on, run all the way up to 100. So again, another one to keep your eye on. Another ticker that is one of the most talked about stocks in retail is Wish. Again, one to keep on the watch list. That's Wish. And then the last one I have as one of the most talked about stocks in retail is AMD. Basically, AMD looks like all the other large caps as far as I can tell. Let's check out NVIDIA. Yeah, so you see that? Same kind of pattern there. I mean, Meta was giving you decent range. And look, this is a prime example of why I like to trade Meta, because it gives you decent range to trade off of, either to the upside or the downside. It's just, all on your preference. Again, AMD, if AMD is one of the most talked about stocks in retail, you can go ahead and assume NVIDIA falls in that criteria as well. What about a TSM? That falls under the same kind of sector as well. Let's see what SockSell looks like. Not almost identical. Success obviously would be the inverse. What's kind of shocking to me is the numbers came in cool. Why did we fade basically for the remainder of the day? I mean, we popped off the open decent. Like, here's the SPY on the 10 minute. So we popped from 410 all the way up to damn near 414, but then we just basically faded the rest of the day. So I mean, that's kind of I would say counterintuitive, maybe a little strange, and inverse like, because if the numbers are cool, I would expect for us to pop. But I mean, seems like we popped and then everyone just faded it, or the market in general just faded for the rest of the day. But again, those are the most talked about stocks in retail going into the trading period today. Also, we do have some catalysts today. Obviously, we have the PPI, which comes out today, Thursday, the 13th. We also have the April jobless claims release and the OPEC monthly oil report. So some decent catalysts coming out today. Believe me when I tell you, they are going to have a bearing on the price action in the market today, especially that PPI. And I believe that comes out around 8:30. The jobless claims obviously will move the markets as well, and also the OPEC monthly oil report. And then also Friday, we have the April consumer sentiment data, which will be coming out. That also has the ability to move the market as well. Obviously, no one has a crystal ball, so we don't know, in what direction the market will go based off of these reports. But I would have to say, being that the numbers came in cool, the PPI should do basically something similar as the CPI. I mean, that's what I've seen historically. Those jobless claims basically will definitely move the market because, if they're down, if unemployment is down, that will signal to the Fed that they need to continue with their monetary policy and tightening to try to get this inflation down lower. And obviously, if they are going to continue with the interest rates being where they are or even raising them higher, obviously that is bearish for the stock market. So just be aware of that as well. Now, we also do have a few tickers. A few tickers are stocks that have earnings today on Thursday. One of those being DAL, Delta Airlines. So Delta Airlines has earnings today. I mean, that thing faded and dumped with the rest of the market. But depending on what those earnings are looking like, we could get a pop on that as well. And obviously, as a active trader, aka day trader, you want to see volatility in the market because that's what gives you price action and range to trade off of, whether that be to the downside or the upside. So again, Delta Airlines has earnings today. Another one that has earnings is I believe Progressive Insurance. So be on the lookout for that as well. It looks like we popped here So I guess going into the close yesterday, I mean, look, this thing was bullish. So look, they were buying the rumor. And look, like right at market open, like pre-market, we're fading right at market open. We hit the bottom of the range. Looks like it's about 147.75. And I mean, just took off to the upside. All right, so decent range to trade off of. Again, like I said, 147.75 going front side all the way up to 149.80s. And then we topped out here. So it is safe to say that we have some resistance up here at this 149.80. And again, this is off a 15-minute chart. But notice we haven't really been up at these levels in a while, like close to 150. And being that we topped out here and basically this acted as resistance and then ultimately rejected and faded off of that level is something you need to be aware of if this is something that you want to trade. And then again, that wasn't yesterday, the 12th. That was the day before, the 11th. Now yesterday, basically almost the same thing. We popped right off the open here at 9:30, straight up. Well, actually, these are 15-minute candles, but I mean, you could say straight up. And look, we ran into that same resistance from the prior day right here, this 149.80s. So, I mean, again, hit that resistance, faded. Looks like we did find some support here at around 149. Might as well call that 149 flat. Consolidated and then made another push towards the upside. Didn't quite get back up to where we rejected what you would basically call the top of the range for, I guess, what you want to call that, 2 days. Didn't quite get back up there, but did get back up to 149.50s and then basically just faded going into the close. So another one to keep your eye on. Again, seems like they're buying the rumor and selling the news 2 days in a row. So again, just things that you should be aware of. If you decide to trade any of these earnings plays. And also tomorrow we have more earnings. Basically, all the banks, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, PNC Bank, BlackRock. We can go ahead and look at some of these charts real quick. So again, JP Morgan has earnings on Friday. I mean, that thing basically moving with the rest of the market as far as the indices, the SPY, the Qs, and any large or mega caps. And you would expect to see that. Again, that's JP Morgan. Again, they have earnings on Friday. So if the market is risk on today, they might be buying the rumor, which means to the upside. Keep in mind, people buy the rumor and sell the news. All right. Wells Fargo, basically same pattern here. Again, Wells Fargo has earnings on Friday as well. Also, PNC Bank has earnings on Friday. PNC looks a little different than the other ones. That thing just basically looks like it actually gapped up going into the trading period yesterday and then basically just dumped with the rest of the market. But this thing, when this thing dumped, it gave you some decent range to trade off of, bro. So like fading the rip from up there. Let's see what that thing looks like on the 5-minute. So market open right about here. Right at market open, that thing just faded all the way back down the previous close. I mean, perfect little setup to trade there. Because, I mean, you're already, well, the way I look at it, previous close was here, right? 122. We gapped up to 124. And then at market open, we were trading at about 123.25. You can say since we kind of gapped up that we're already near the top of the range. Once you see the market fading, I mean, obviously, if you were going to trade this thing, you'd be fading it from the top of the range up here. And I mean, that thing just basically went straight down. So market open right about here, that thing just faded all the way down the previous close. You probably scale out here where we're chopping around, but obviously down here at previous close, there's going to be a significant level. And that's probably where you want to go ahead and take the position off or exit, take profits off the table. The last banking play that has earnings on Friday is BlackRock. And I mean, BlackRock kind of looking similar to the other major banks. Caught a piece of that fade with the rest of the market, but then tried to make a push back up towards the highs. Couldn't quite get there, but did make a decent push and then ultimately faded and went backside. Decent range to trade off of. What, off the highs, 670, 760s, and lows 663. So more than $10, more like $15 range on that thing. Decent. Okay. So other than that, we do have some FDA approval dates coming up. Actually, we have FDA approval decisions on Teva and Alvo. I mean, we can go ahead and look at these real quick. Teva Pharmaceutical. If this thing gets that FDA approval, it's definitely gonna pop. And biotech is very volatile, and FDA approvals is basically the main catalyst in biotech plays. That's a big deal. Definitely one to keep on the radar. The other biotech that has FDA approval today is Alvo. So it's Alvotech, trading on the NASDAQ. No options on that. I mean, that thing's kind of like all over the place, but it did gap up with the rest of the market. I mean, it's just not a lot of liquidity. It seems like it's kind of illiquid and low volume. So, I mean, it is what it is. But one thing you can bet on is if they get the FDA approval, this thing will pop. Now, really quick, we do actually have some expected IPOs. Obviously, IPOs can be very volatile as well and give you some decent price action and range to trade off of. So today, expected IPO is VCIG. And then moving further along in the month, we have FTEL, TEL, and that's on the 21st. And then on the 28th, we have LGCL. All right. Now, a few stocks that have high implied volatility this week. And remember, high implied volatility means it means exactly what it sounds like. A lot of volatility, basically a lot of price action and range to trade off of. And that high implied volatility is basically, I believe, derived from the options chain and the options activity. But just to go over some of these stocks and tickers with high implied volatility for this week is Carvana. Giving you some range here. Looks like we have some resistance here up at 1030s. Also, a little further up, maybe about 1050s, 1070s, but definitely this 1030s, the resistance. Now, as far as support, I'd say this is definitely a level down here. This 897, might as well call it 9. Look, we came up here, rejected, came back here, chopped around, then came back down here, bounced off this level, hit it, then cracked it, came back up here, was acting as resistance, was able to get back above it, acting as support, ran all the way up here, faded, higher low, came up here, hit this resistance 1030s, then caught a piece of that fade with the rest of the market yesterday, but was able to hold on to some of the gains, coming back over here. So again, support here at about $9. Again, high implied volatility. Another one with high implied volatility is BBBY. And I mean, that's self-explanatory. I mean, that thing faded decent. Doesn't mean there isn't any short-term opportunity to trade off the price action or any volatility that may present itself. Another one with high implied volatility is VHC, Vertinex Holding. A little small cap, low float, damn near a penny stock. Hey, but those things can move. Not particularly my cup of tea, but high implied volatility, something you need to be aware of. Finance of America. Another one with high implied volatility. This thing's from a few days back, it was trading at what, like $1.20. It's kind of actually been grinding up and putting in some higher lows in the overall scheme of things. Look, 120 popped, held this 135, popped. Then they took profits, little profit taking cycle here, but it did maintain a higher low at about 150. Then next day popped again, ran all the way up as far as 225. Another profit taking cycle, but again did maintain a higher low, and we've actually been holding this level. And again, this is off the 15-minute chart. Still, I mean, any levels aren't guaranteed to hold as support or resistance, but this thing has been holding this higher low and this support here for the last few days. All right, so another one to keep your eye on. And again, started running from about 120s, holding a higher low and support up here at 180s. So, I mean, another one to keep your eye on. And again, pretty cheap, little small cap. You know, those small caps have the ability to run and run decent. Skills has high implied volatility. As far as a few days back, this thing was looks like it has some support here at about 50 cents, somewhere around there. Did get all the way back. It did make a run all the way up to about 75 cents. Did give some back, but held a higher low. So again, high implied volatility. Put it on your watch list or keep your eye on it. Moving on, we have Cardalytics, high implied volatility, and this thing's definitely giving you some range to trade off of. Let's check it out on the daily real quick. I mean, obviously it's a bag holder chart, but zooming in, we were basically just downtrending decent, but it looks like we did actually find some support here finally on the daily at about what, 250s, 260. Ever since then, been putting in higher lows on the daily chart. Looks like here on the 4th, we had a decent little pop here from 350s all the way up to almost $7 at the highs. And notice we've been putting in higher lows, and we are maintaining a higher low. So again, high implied volatility, another one to keep your eye on. Definitely showing some proof of concept, and I'd be looking for it to hold this 550s and definitely this 450s, 460s. Let's zoom in, get in the trenches a little bit and see what we have. So yesterday, I mean, maintaining a higher low relative to the prior day and the day before that. Looks like we bottomed out, found some support here down at about 450s. Nice little bullish run on the 6th from what, 460s all the way up to $6. Decent. All right, obviously maintaining the higher low, did make a push higher, almost trying to get back towards those highs, couldn't quite get there, but I mean, that's decent. I would be looking at this 620s as a resistance, 620s as a resistance there. If you do decide to trade this thing, just be aware of that level. Again, Cardalytics, also AMC with high implied volatility lately. Ape Gang trying to make another run at it. And again, AMC with high implied volatility the last few days and basically the past week. And I mean, like I said, Ape Gang still hanging in there. You feel me? Look at this thing. Looks like it found some support down here at about $4. I mean, a line in the sand, I'd say about 380s or 350s, something like that. But ever since then, we've kind of been trending to the upside and just maintaining higher low. Look, higher low, pushed up, profit taking cycle, but maintaining a higher low, profit taking cycle, then pushed up higher. All right, maintaining a higher low. So, I mean, for this thing to be in play, you definitely want to see it hold previous close, which is this 530s handle here. Again, that's AMC. Another one is Tellurian. high implied volatility. Basically the same thing. These things looks like there's some support down here at about 120 or so. And ever since then, just been trending to the upside. Obviously, when we push up decent like that, profit taking is going to ensue. But what you want to look for is do we give it all back, or do we hold on to some of those gains and maintain a higher low? And basically, we have been maintaining a higher low and grinding towards the upside. So again, another one you may want to keep your eyes on. Now, Heron Therapeutics, again, high implied volatility. Looks like we have some support down here at, let's actually go out. Let's look at the daily on this thing. All right, so definitely looks like we have some support down here at about 160s, 150s. I'd go ahead and call it, about 150 on the daily. Ever since then, back on the 31st, we've actually been trending towards the upside on the daily, putting in these higher lows, actually each day putting in a higher low. All right, so from 150 up to about 280s at the highs, did give some back, which is normal, because people are going to take profits. That's just the way it goes. But again, what you want to verify with some proof of concept is, are we maintaining a higher low as we trend upward, even as they take profits? It's fine. That's normal. You want to see that if you're bullish on the stock, because if something goes straight up, it can go straight down. And more than likely, that's what's going to happen, especially on these small caps. So again, you want to see some proof of concept with some higher lows, with some profit taking cycles, but ultimately stepping up and putting in higher lows. And that's what you see here on Heron Therapeutics. Again, high implied volatility. Now we have TH International, another one with high implied volatility, and basically following the same pattern. Off the lows down here, let's look at the daily really quick. Okay, so you can clearly see that this thing has some support on the daily at around 350s, and ever since we consolidated, I don't know, for about 2 weeks, maybe more, on this support. Then we started making a run towards the upside. I mean, we did start trending towards the upside, putting in some higher lows. Did kind of give some back, come back to the support, and then take off. And that's a pattern. That's a setup. That's that ABCD setup. I think it's like A. Then you pull back is the B, and consolidate and start to put in a higher low, C, and then D. The ABCD pattern. Definitely a real pattern, and that is what I see here on the daily. Definitely trending in the right direction, and also has some high implied volatility. Definitely one I'd be keeping my eyes on if I were you. And again, same pattern here. Support on the daily, and then trending up, but putting in higher lows. And look at this, just on this day here, from like 370 up to 460, then 470. That's a dollar little run there in one trading period. Obviously, profit taken. Next day, pulled back to the support, which is a higher low, pushed even a little higher, pulled back to the same level, and never broke down this 460s here any meaningful way, maintaining a higher low from down here 350s to here 460s, and then yesterday pushed even higher to almost 520s before fading with the rest of the market. But even now, putting in a higher low, maintaining this higher low, over $5. So that I would be looking at that $5 as a key psychological level. And as you can see from the 10-minute chart here, definitely a level there. We chopped around it, ran up to the highs, came back down, tried to hold it as support, broke down the $5, but still holding previous close, still right around $5, and it looks like we did gap up over 5. So again, I'd be looking for this thing to hold $5 and consolidate, and if it can do that, definitely some opportunity there. Another one with high implied volatility, chicken soup for the soul. Let's check it out on the daily real quick. I mean, this obviously it's a bag holder chart. Doesn't necessarily mean there's no opportunity there. Again, it's just been fading, but it looks like we did kind of find some support down here at about 150, 160s. Put in a higher low, and we've been consolidating on this level right here. Might as well call it $2. So I'd be looking at that $2 as a major level and support to hold, and it is a nice round number, hold number, which makes it a psychological level as well. So I'd be looking for this thing to at least hold $2. Looks like we're a little bit under 2 right now, but not by much. But if we can get back above $2 right here, where we're seeing all this support here, see right across here, we can hold. If we can get back over that and consolidate above it for any meaningful amount of time, I believe we could see some price action to trade off of. Moving on, SoundHound AI, another AI stock. The AI sector has been rather bullish lately. Let's look at the daily real quick. Now this thing is interesting because we're down here at about $1. There's a support down here at $1. All right. Ever since then on the daily, we've been grinding up, putting in higher lows. We ultimately got up as high as 520s, but I'd more than likely be comfortable saying there is some decent resistance up here at around $5. Right, as you can see right here, and look, this is the daily chart. Did give a lot back. Even after all that profit taken, we ultimately did not give it all back. So that's something you want to see as some sort of proof of concept. And again, this is off the daily. Let's zoom in a little bit. And basically this thing kind of faded with the rest of the market yesterday. Definitely a higher low off the dollar support, and then off the $2 support, and now we're trading at about 275. So definitely putting in higher lows in the grand scheme of things. To trade this thing, I definitely want to see it show me a little bit more proof of concept. And again, I'm not by any means necessary saying these are long-term plays, or not even referring to any fundamentals. I'm strictly referring to the implied volatility and the opportunity for some price action in range to trade off of. So another one to keep your eye on, again, that's SoundHound AI. Moving on, Cadiz. So on the 15-minute, this thing looks kind of interesting. Actually, let's check it out on the daily first. Obviously, this thing did some decent fading, but there's clearly some support on the daily down here at $2. We're actually trading at closer to 5 right now, so definitely moving in the right direction. Holding a higher low off the daily chart. Now, I'd say there is a level here off the daily, about 414. You feel me? Higher low in the grand scheme of things, and for the last few days, definitely trending in the right direction, putting in higher lows. And this is what this thing did yesterday. Kind of, moved with the overall market, being that it caught a piece of that fade, But this thing actually, after it faded back down here to this level, this 450s. And let's see what that 450s coincides with. Right around here. The day before, it was resistance. After we gapped up, once it faded with the rest of the market, I came back down to 450s and actually bounced and then ran back up towards the highs. So that one's really interesting. Definitely keep my eye on that for the simple fact that it did run up decent off the lows. It did fade with the rest of the market. But while the rest of the market was fading for the rest of the day, this thing was just grinding back up towards the highs for the rest of the day, and did actually go front side and is trading above previous close right now. So, I mean, I definitely be looking for this thing to hold this 470s, 475. I mean, like 475, 478. If it can consolidate above that level for any amount of time, definitely some room to run to the upside on that. Again, just bringing them to your attention. Definitely not telling you to buy, hold, or sell, but I believe if you're taking this serious, this is definitely information that you need to take into consideration. Moving on, Big Bear AI Holdings, another AI stock. Again, AI has been super bullish. Let's check it out on the daily first. See, what this thing's doing in the grand scheme of things. Definitely some support down here at about $2, 180s. Just might as well call it $2. Yeah, about $2 right there. That thing ran up as high as 670s back in February. Once it topped out, it just kind of just faded and just leaked all the way back down to around this level, this $2, but didn't break down past that. Kind of chopped around it, chopping around that level for a little bit. Ultimately broke back above it. Kind of has been trading sideways within a range for the last few days or a week or so. But notice, put in a higher low, came up here to about $3, topped out, faded back down to $2. Ever since then, we based and we've been putting in some higher lows and actually trending in the right direction. So another one to keep your eye on. As far as what it did yesterday, it's kind of all over the place. Definitely giving you some range to trade to the upside and the downside and back upside, then all the way back down to the bottom of the range, and then kind of started trying to trend upward going into the close yesterday. So actually, yeah, going into the close, running up, got back to previous close, and then just rejected and faded after hours. But since then, it did actually find some support down here at about 270s or so, and basically been putting in higher lows and trending in the right direction and going towards the upside. So again, another one to keep your eye on. And again, I mean, any of these plays with this high implied volatility, especially trending upward, could potentially give you some decent price action and range to trade off of, especially if the market is risk on today. For some reason, I kind of have a feeling that it will be. I don't know, because the numbers weren't hot. They came in cool. So, I mean, that's usually bullish for the stock market. Being that all these plays seem to be trending upward, all it takes is for the market to be risk on, and also being that they have high implied volatility, those are all elevating factors to go ahead and formulate your thesis and plan. You feel me? Plan your trades and trade your plan. I mean, it's as simple as that. All right, moving on. Novavax. Let's check it out on the daily.